You know you've been dreaming about what would happen if you dropped a nuke on that city Skylines map you've spent 1,000 hours on. Does Endzone give you that post-apocalyptic city builder you're looking for? Or is it a miserable, grindy, and shallow slog? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. City builders are everywhere these days, and so is post-apocalyptic. Endzone, a world apart by Gentlymad Studios, attempts to create a mashup of the two. You know that we like city builders here on Strategy for Busy People, and I had had my eye on Endzone for quite some time, and finally decided to pull the trigger and grab it. At its core, Endzone is a colony management sim within the city builder genre. You have a population whose needs you need to attend to, and you do so by constructing and managing various supply chains. No surprises so far. The game adheres to the post-apocalyptic vibe pretty well, but this is both a blessing and a curse. If you've ever played any other colony management sim or city builder before, you've essentially played Endzone. Just take the same supply chains and paint them with an apocalyptic flair. Oh, your people need water? Except it's radioactive. Danger. Oh, your people need food? Except it's radioactive. Danger. Okay, maybe that's a little harsh. There is an interesting system of gathering generic scrap, which then is turned into multiple streams of resources: plastic, cloth, metal. Those streams of resources are then consumed by various production facilities to make goods that are required in the rest of your colony. Managing the population of your colony is important because reproduction is a thing. Too many babies turn quickly into too many mouths to feed. Everything is mostly good so far, but all too slowly, this world apart starts to fall apart. You see, the tutorial is good. In fact, it's too good. And it's too long. Most of my time in this game is playing the tutorial. Yes, I was 5+ hours into it, and I still actually hadn't finished the tutorial. The tutorial attempts to introduce you to every single supply chain mechanic in the game, as well as all of the other mechanics too. And it attempts to do so on rails. So, while you think you're really playing your own game, you're really just bumper bowling. This causes some serious grief and agony because you expect to be able to perform some game action, and it simply doesn't work. You think it's bugged, only to find out in some random Steam forum discussion that, no, that's just how the tutorial works. Thanks. The other thing I'm not particularly fond of is the quote-unquote minigames. They're not the type of minigames that you probably expect when you hear that word. For example, there's a system of expeditions where you can send some colonists out into the wastes to explore points of interest, potentially either gaining valuable stuff or dying in the process. Or both in some cases. While I understand conceptually how this would be an important part of an aftermath scenario, it ends up being mostly an annoyance. Then, there's a system of raiders in combat, which, to a degree, is a bit hokey. I understand that this too would likely be a reality of post-apocalyptic and post-societal collapse life. But, to me, it doesn't add tremendously to the game. I would have been absolutely fine without this or the expedition mechanics. As expected, there's a tech tree and the ability to do research to unlock new buildings, better buildings, or other things. In what appears to be aped directly out of Frostpunk, there's also a system of policies/edicts that you can enact as the fearless leader, which cause the population to do, or not to do, various things. That doesn't make the policy system bad. It is implemented well, I guess. This game also involves a lot of hurry up and wait. I frequently found myself just hitting the accelerate time button and walking away at my treadmill desk, waiting for number go up. Finally, I got sick of the tutorial and figured that I would start off on my own. I initially thought it wouldn't be fun to start from zero, so I tried my hand at one of the scenarios. Well, One of the other annoying things in the game made that super frustrating. The artwork in the game is great. You really feel the spit and baling wire nature of all of the structures. But it also makes all of them look nearly the same. So it ends up being really hard to find the right building in the sea of shacks. I spent a bunch of time in that first scenario just looking for stuff playing Where's Waldo, got sick of it, and restarted. Then, I got about 20 minutes into my brand new city and realized I was just going to do nearly the same exact thing that I had just spent 5 hours doing in the tutorial, but on a slightly different map. And this time, I was in a quote-unquote rush because the raiders could potentially arrive whenever, and the bumper bowling guardrails were off. I gave up. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. Endzone, A World Apart, is a solid colony builder with many things you expect and some things you don't. It's not entirely novel, but it's hard to be novel in this day and age when you're making a game in a pretty established genre. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, Endzone initially had me hooked, but the radioactive sheen did in fact wash off, and I went and got a decidedly non-radioactive bourbon. And I didn't even have to make it myself. Meh.